G'day guys, Sean here from Outback Equipment. Today we are here joined by a couple of amazing people. We got Tyler Thompson and Nick from G-Works. We're going to be running through Tyler's car and the G-Works setup, the train canopy on the back of it. So thanks for joining us today guys, how you doing?
You're welcome, going good. Yep, mate, staying dry out here in Barrington.
Yeah, it's pretty chilly up here. It's been a rainy night and it's quite early in the morning, so it's a bit chilly, but we'll try and get through it.
Yep.
The nav, it's probably one of the hardest working navs I've ever seen. Probably one of the hardest working navs in Australia. You've taken this thing absolutely everywhere. I'm pretty keen to hear all about how you've got it set up to do the stuff that you do in this thing. So we'll start with the front.
So it's the Ironman Deluxe Commercial bull bar with a Ironman winch as well. So yeah, Ironman winch bull bar. Got the ARB spotlights on the front, just upgraded to a factor 55 hook there.
Yep. How do you find the factor 55 gear with the closed kind of system? You have to use the soft shackles to link it all up?
Yeah, well, you can use hard shackles too, but works much better. It's a little bit loosely mobile. Normally it sits much nicer there, it's easy to grab.
Yep.
The problem with hooks is people are always trying to find a place to put them.
Yeah, and scratching things up and that kind of stuff. It looks really neat.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people put hooks down underneath there, but if you ever actually got stuck in mud or rocks or something, that's not the place you want it to be.
Yeah, definitely. So you went with the loop bar, bit of extra protection. You obviously do a fair bit of driving in the Outback and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just prefer the look of that too.
Yeah, cool. These Ironman bars on the nav sit really nice.
Yeah, because they're molded to actually suit, so you don't actually have to cut anything. It's a full bumper replacement and they match the lines, so they go up rather than some of the bars which are straight across.
Yeah, awesome. And these Ironman bars, they're tough as nails. They're steel?
Yeah, steel, yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're good.
And underneath, you've got any bash plates?
Yep, so Ironman bash plates right through to the transfer case. So
awesome, all the way back.
Yeah, everything underneath, so when I'm smashing rocks, I know I'm not smashing thousands of dollars worth of diffs and transfer cases and sumps and all that stuff.
Yeah, better the bash plates than all that. I'm sure that underneath there's seen better days.
Yeah, I actually got in trouble by my mechanics the other day because they spent 2 hours trying to straighten out the bash plates because they were all bent and they had to re-drill all the holes, but they did their job, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's it. These vehicles are meant to be used and you actually use it. So. And you got the Oricon comms on the top?
Yeah, so just, I think that's a 3 dBi and then it has an extension so you can put it, so smaller being better for the mountains because it'll give you higher distance but less range, and you can extend it if you're on the Outback trips and then you'll get much further range.
Yeah, right. I've seen a few different versions like the GME ones and stuff where the whole whip comes off and is replaced, but this you've just got like a little extension bar that sits on top.
Yeah, so just screw that cap off and then screw the extension bar on top and then it turns it into a 6.5 dBi.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a great way to do it, so you don't have to carry around another massive whip with you if you've got the small one on.
Yeah.
In terms of bar work, it extends back down the side. You've got some sliders going on, no scrub bars or anything like that?
No scrub bars. I just got rock sliders down the side, which are MechFab Industries, so just a fabrication guy in Newcastle.
Just made them up for you?
Made them up for me, yep.
What have we got underneath the car in terms of suspension, tyres, wheels? This is the question that everyone always asks.
Tyres are a 285 by 75 R16, which is basically a 33.
33 or 33?
About a 33.
Yep.
They're a Falcon Wild Peak mud terrain.
Yep.
Suspension is a bit all over the place. It's a mixture of companies and brands.
Yep.
So in the front, I got the Ironman Foam Cell Pro shocks with their coils.
Yep.
Super Pro upper control arms with different ball joints in it from another company.
What was the reason for changing out the ball joints?
They broke.
Okay.
Yeah, they broke.
Yep.
And then down the back, I have PSR coils, Outback Armour shocks, which are modified by Platinum Mechanical and Suspension. I have a Superior Pan Hard Rod, Road Runner lower control arms because I smashed the factory ones, upgraded them.
Yep.
Extended brake lines.
Yep.
A few bits like that.
So it sounds like a lot of the gear that's on it currently is either replace broken parts rather than upgrading existing parts?
Yeah, well the rear was changed from the Ironman because we went for a long travel kit to allow for more flex. So that was why we went that really, and then the lower control arms are because I broke the factory ones. Pan hard rod just to correct that diff after the lift. yeah, a few bits and pieces
Sort of
like
come
that.
together. Awesome. And then what have we got going under the hood? Is it the twin turbo nav engine?
Yeah, twin turbo diesel.
So we've got the stainless steel snorkel and airbox.
Stainless steel, platinum mechanical suspension, snorkel, pipe through to the airbox, so it's all fully sealed and waterproof.
Yep, must have.
Yep. Got a secondary fuel filter, so got the 2 fuel filters there.
Yep.
That's about it,
Also
really.
a must have.
Yeah, just being the diesel, they're pretty sensitive, and I did have that water issue once in Cape York.
Yep.
And I reckon having the second fuel filter is what saved me, because I was
Saved
getting
your life.
water out of both of them.
Yeah, right. It was that bad.
Yeah, I had to pull them both out multiple times, and every time I was getting water out of both of them.
Just got some dirty fuel up there.
Yeah, no, well, we think we got water in through somewhere.
Okay.
Let some water in, and the deep crossings.
Yeah, they are deep up there. And you've never had any problems with the motor itself, or been pretty good for the trip?
Yeah, generally, no major motor issues really. I had a MAF sensor failure, which caused a heap of problems. Other than that,
We did a similar rundown with TJ, and he was saying he had a pretty similar issue with the MAF sensor. Is that fairly common?
well, I think because we both got these oiled filters, and I think the issue being if they're slightly oiled wrong, you get a bit of oil go through onto your MAF sensor and it fries it.
Right, gotcha.
So I would probably recommend not putting an oiled filter
Yeah, he actually said the exact same
on
thing.
these. Yeah, well, I was talking to him about it yesterday.
that was your idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then you got your battery monitor from Ultima 9.
Yeah, Ultima 9 battery monitor there, just so you can keep an eye on that.
Check your voltage, and that's pretty much bone stock outside of that.
Yeah, that's about it.
One thing I like to ask, has there been any major components replaced after being broken or anything like that?
Yep, there's been a few.
Quite a few in here.
Yeah, well, not so much in the engine, more underneath, like done both diffs now, done a transfer case, things like that.
Yeah.
But obviously it's done an insane amount of hard work.
Yeah, I mean, this, like I said before, this car has seen an absolutely massive amount of hard tracks in Australia. How old is it?
2 years, 4 months,
Yep.
and it's already nearly wrecked.
And how many Ks are on it?
About 70,000.
70,000 Ks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, that shows that you really drive this thing.
Yeah.
Gotta have fun.
Yeah, it's been a few places.
Awesome. Let's take a look in the cab. So, fair bit going on the outside of the car, obviously. Let's talk about what's going on the inside. Keep you comfortable for those long trips. What do you got going on in here?
Nothing too major, just got Razorback seat covers to protect the seats.
Yep.
Have the Ultima 9 throttle controller, which you use all the time.
Must have, yeah.
Got the Oricom UHF there, so obviously that's connected to the antenna.
Yep.
You got your spotty switch, you got a locker switch down there, so it just comes with a factory rear locker. I don't have a front one.
Yep.
You got the Ultima 9 code breaker there. If you have any codes pop up, you can clear them and you can monitor
Check out what's going on.
things going on in the engine and stuff as we're driving. Yep.
And it's manual.
Yeah, manual, 6-speed manual.
Yeah, you prefer the manual over the auto?
Yeah, I think driving the Patrol now, which is an auto, I think the auto is slightly better off-road, but there are some things better about the manual, but I just prefer driving a manual.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's probably one of the age-old contest, manual or auto off-road. Everyone has their own opinions. I mean, both have their pros and cons. So.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, it's just the main reason is simply I do just like driving an auto. I like having that control.
Yeah, awesome. And then up on the roof, we've got some gear from Front Runner.
Yeah, so we got the Front Runner, like a Front Runner platform. You got the table here, which I won't pull it all the way out, but you got like a table, so that's a camp table.
Yeah, really great place to store it up there. Hey?
Comes out and sits down there, so you can stay up at camp. I just got some treads on the roof there, and then sometimes I'll put a swag there.
Yeah.
And then you got the Drifter 1.2 Wildlands tent up there on top.
And what do these brackets do?
They're quick release awning brackets. So I've got like a kick-ass shower tent that you can sit straight on them.
Yeah, oh, so you can just take it on and off.
Take it on and off whenever with these clips.
Yeah, that's very handy. And on top of the rooftop tent, looks like you got a solar panel.
Yeah, 120 watt red arc solar panel, which is connected to the dual battery system. So when you're sitting around, it just sort of trickle charges it. Maybe not today, but when, when there's a bit of sunshine, it works.
A bit cloudy today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that leads us into this absolute monster on the back of the Nav, the Train Canopy. I reckon we'll bring Nick back in and get him to help us out run through it. All right, so we're joined by Nick from G-Works. Tyler, you've been working with Nick and the G-Works for quite a while. The canopy on the back looks a lot different than it did a year ago today. So Nick, thanks for joining us. I'm really keen to kind of hear about how the canopy's evolved over time and what the story and the background is behind how this all works.
Yeah, so it was, probably September a couple of years ago where Tyler had the famous roof rack incident up at Fraser, and we reached out to Tyler at that time to basically work together and allow Tyler to go through and do some research, and we can develop products from strengthening products or usability, things like that, from the knowledge that and the findings that we've had from Tyler absolutely abusing the setups.
Yeah.
And this current generation of product is all of those learnings and things that we've talked about together, and just minor tweaks and things like that to get them better. The original setup that was actually on Tyler's vehicle was a prototype. It was specifically built for Tyler. It was mainly based around its weight saving abilities, and the things that we thought would be a weakness were a weakness, and this is the strengths found from those weaknesses and usability functions to create what the product is now, and and the product that's on the back of your vehicle as well is a little bit different in a few minor tweaks, but essentially they are the same product now. And a big thing for us when we worked with Tyler was, there's only going to be so long that he's going to have the Navara for, so we wanted to create a product that we could take to a vehicle in the future should Tyler change to another vehicle.
Okay, right, so the setups that you've kind of built now, they're completely, or not completely, but they're generally universal. So you can take the whole Train Canopy setup off this vehicle, and if he upgrades to something better, like a Ford Ranger, you just put it on the back of that?
Yes, that's correct. So, there is a few minor tweaks between the vehicles.
Okay.
So,
mounts and stuff like that?
Yeah, mounts are one of the bits that changes, and obviously your center of the axle off the back window is different between different vehicles. So Navaras and D-Maxes are very similar. It's the same as Rangers and Hiluxes are very similar.
Okay.
You can get away in those aspects. So we do offer a couple of different types of products, a fixed mounted canopy or a tray end canopy. That is what Tyler has here in front, which is great for those that want to run that slightly shorter canopy setup to bring their extras on the back further in closer. So,
and the canopy is removable.
And the canopy is removable. So they are all built with lift-off capability.
Yep.
It's just a matter of letting us know at the time of production, or if your circumstances change in the future and you want to add it in, then it's already there. It's pretty easy to do. So
awesome.
And that was, part of the learnings and development process we've been through with Tyler and Bree as well. So, two different vehicles. One's heavily used for touring every day of the week, and the other one is definitely put through some very hard tracks and some tough terrain and things like that.
Definitely. So, and it stands up to both of those challenges by the looks of it.
Yeah, there's a few key areas. So it's built as a platform, so everything is assembled. Everything that is below that tray top comes off and can be removed, replaced if it's damaged.
Yep.
We'll show you the guard around the other side. Tyler's already first trip out.
Dinged it up a little bit.
Dinged it up a little bit, but the way that we build our guards is different, and it's a little bit unique. So it doesn't crack the weld. You've literally got some strength in that, and they're usually one of the weakest points on setups.
Yeah,
it's just a bit of secret around how we do them.
Secret sauce to make this thing work. That's amazing. So by the looks of it, every single part of this current setup You've learned something from the original setup that Tyler had, how it was built, the weak points, the strong points. You've built from that and fixed all the problems. So this thing is ideally kind of indestructible now.
Yep. So, you know, it's the little things like the headboard. So the headboard is actually bolted to the tray top. It's incorporated with the tray mounts underneath.
Yep.
So depending on what vehicle you are, it's the mount on the front that changes. You know, bringing the filler up into the headboard, it's just easier. It's higher.
Makes it nice and neat.
It's nice and neat. It allows you to also run cabling through this headboard if you want to. In the future, there's going to be headboard water tanks that go in there. They're going to be about 43 litres. We're just going through that R&D process at the moment.
Yep, making it work before you release the product.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
So there's little things like there's cutouts and reliefs for cable glands for when you're lifting the canopy off, so it's not clashing with anything else.
Yep.
All little bits.
Everything's thought about, every little detail.
Every little detail. You know, to the point where you've got your front infill panels, they now have a flush mounted tap if that's what the customer's requesting, which is really nice and neat. We've got a power button there for the water pump. So we run
the back of the headboard.
Yep.
Yep.
So we run a diaphragm C-flow pump. So that way, if it ever does get run empty, there's no damage caused to that pump.
Yeah, sure, because you can't really see the level if it's all hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And we use like premium fittings and things like that. So like we run a John Guest fittings with poly hose.
Yep.
So there's no hose clamps in that system. So if you are in the Cape and something is broken and you need to get into that tank, it's very, very easily
take it all apart.
To take it all apart on the side of the road. You're not having to get under there and undo hose clamps and
stuff. Yeah.
You know, if you've ever been under Tyler's car, there's generally like half the state forest underneath there from the last trip. So.
Yeah.
But you know, it's little usability things. So like a lot of people go, what are these holes for in the side?
Yep.
That's actually tie downs. So they take multiple different like tie down straps. You can use rope in there.
Yep.
It's just a nice cleaner look. And then obviously you've got your boxes, so they change between the vehicles. But you know, this is something that we've worked really, really hard on to get that seal to be.
You can see it's working.
Yeah, you can definitely see it's working. So we've had our toolboxes on trucks, Chop 200s, Tyler's cars also done the Cape last year, and all of the boxes have done exactly what they need to do.
Kept the dust out.
Kept the dust out.
Awesome. Getting water out.
Yep, and it's all about just keeping that rubber as smooth as possible. No tight bends and things like that. That's one of the key things with that. We also use the straps in there just to, it creates like a bench so that when you are getting your recovery gear out, if you need to get something at the back, you can actually put it onto there instead of putting it into the mud.
Yeah.
Because you're generally stuck when you're trying to get that stuff out.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, these are the lift-off points, like I mentioned before. So our lift-off system is bolt-on. It's not your tongue and groove setup like other products on the market. The leg is fixed.
So there's no chance of it slipping off.
It's much, much sturdier.
Okay.
You know, the often question we'll get, can you sleep in a rooftop tent on it? We still don't recommend it. Mm-hmm. It will take that ability to do it on the legs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, but we just don't recommend it just for safety reasons.
Yeah, it could get a little bit wobbly.
Yes, definitely. So basically you got the inside of the canopy here for Tyler. So you know, all our canopies come with the central locking actuators. Just a matter of having them wired to the vehicle, and this time round the guys at Hastings have done an absolute animal setup for Tyler. So
yep.
I'm sure he'll go into that shortly. But you know, one of the biggest things is we've designed our internal fit outs around the Bushman's fridge, the upright.
Yep, it's the trending kind of product at the moment for these train canopy setups. Yep. Everyone's got the upright fridges. They're easy to use, easy to get in and out of, easy to pack. So it makes sense why you use them.
Yep. And then the biggest question we get, and I noticed that it was a question that was asked on Tyler's new release video, is how come the fridge is at the back? So
instead of at the front of the vehicle?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's all about that waste, the place across the vehicle. So you know, these things are 22 kilos by themselves. You got the surround that's a couple of kilos there as well. Where these drawer and table combos, we run like a 225 kilo runner, which is overkill.
Yeah, heavy duty.
You can stand in that.
Okay.
But these are around that 36 kilo mark empty.
Right.
Okay. And if you look in Tyler's drawer now, he's got it full of cooking.
Gear.
So what's going to
away.
happen at the end of this trip, we're going to come home, this drawer is still going to be fully loaded, but the fridge is going to be empty.
Gotcha.
So
The small details, everything's thought about, isn't it?
yep. So, you know, even to the point where the drawer will actually lock out and then your table comes out underneath it, which you can see our nice pretty little mat that we've had done up by Minute Death Do Us Art, just to make it that little bit more
Unique and awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely something special that we've had together. So
What I love about this setup is if you've got the drawer in and you're working on the bench and you need to get something out of your drawer, it doesn't cover the bench. You can bring it all out with itself.
Yep.
So you never have to move anything around too much. That's awesome.
So that was one of our pet hates from like some of our original generation stuff.
Yeah.
Was that having that drawer locking in, and trying to make it a little bit more user friendly, because you do go to the drawer system and you've generally got like an armful of stuff and you're trying to open it. So having that and being able to lock things in there, so lock your car keys and you can go for a surf with just the lock off there, rather than, you know,
Yeah.
your
sure.
module on your key for your car. So
Yeah.
from that, we've obviously designed the pantry system, which when we went through those processes in that design feature, it was designed around a jet boil sumo. So you can fit one of them in there. All the shelves are adjustable, and it's also flipped, so you can go left or right of the actual
Of the fridge.
So they're designed to mount to that, and it's pretty handy.
Yeah, I mean, by the sounds of things, a lot of the different components of this whole setup that you've mentioned, they're designed around the products that people who would use this kind of setup use every day. Like a jet boil fits perfectly in that pantry. The Bushman's fridge fits perfectly in there. Your recovery gear fits perfectly. The little bench. It's all designed around real world stuff rather than just making it fit in what works.
Yep.
Which, yeah, I mean, it makes living out of these things just 10 times better, doesn't it?
Yep.
And I'm sure Tyler would agree.
Yeah, it's definitely an awesome setup.
Yeah, awesome.
Out
What
on
I'm keen
tracks.
to hear about, Tyler, is this insane 12-volt setup you've got back here. I don't think I've seen one this beefy before.
Yeah, it's definitely gone for top of the line setup here. The dual battery system was made by Hastings Auto Electrical in Port Macquarie, because they work with G-Works as well. So they designed this full dual battery setup, which is mounted to the front wall of the Canopy there in a nice little setup, and you can see it's even got the backlighting there before.
Very cool.
So the basic outline of the setup is it is a 200 amp hour Invicta lithium, so I've got a lot of power, which I need, being the job I do filming content on the road. I'm basically always charging drones, camera batteries, GoPros, laptops every night, so I need that fair bit of power, which is why they've also given me a heap of charge points here. So that's obviously your inverter. You got 12 volts, and then I got like 8 USB ones and a couple of Anderson there too, and there's actually more over the other side. So Invicta battery, but then the rest is a red arc setup. So you got your full red vision display here where you can monitor your water tank levels, fridge temp, you can turn your inverter on and off, run all your lighting basically, and you can see what's going in and out of the setup at all times. And then the red arc components are a 2000 watt inverter, so that obviously converts your 12 volt power to your 240 volt. And then you got your all your Red 30, I think is it Red 30 manager 30, and all your fuses, all the way it charges over there. So there's 3 ways it charges. One being through the alternator when you're driving, through to here, and then charges your battery. The other way being solar on the roof, so it has a 120 which is hooked up at all the times, which will trickle charge the system. And the third way being you can actually plug it into mains over the other side, so if you want to charge this whole setup before you go away, then you can charge the whole thing. So being 200 amp hours and it's lithium, it means you can safely use maybe 180 amp hours, I think it is, of that battery, something around there. So being lithium, you can use a lot of that, whereas an AGM, 200 amp hour battery, you can only safely use 100 of it. So being lithium, you do have a lot of power. So, you know, it would run the fridge, depending on the temperature, for, you know, probably nearly a week, even without the solar working. If you're running your inverter, you know, using your charging ports, the light, the fridge, you're probably going to get a couple of days at camp before you have to drive again. Or if the solar's working, then it'll help keep that running. So it's so variable depending on, obviously the inverter's the biggest thing that will chew through battery. If you're not using that, you'll get a whole lot longer out of the system. And you know, if you're using this like today, it's cold out here, the fridge is going to use stuff all power. Whereas if you're out here in a 40-degree day, it's constantly going to be running, trying to keep itself cool. So it's very variable, but it's been great. I sat this car at home for nearly 2 weeks over Christmas because I was driving my other car and had the fridge running the whole time, and I don't think that got below like 60% with the solar, just trickle charging it, and then the Bushmans doesn't use a heap of power.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm guessing with that, you've never really run into a situation where you've drained it flat out on the road, or?
No, and because we move camp so much, we move camp nearly every night, so it's never ever an issue. Like, I've got more than enough power. I can just, you know, burn this system the whole night, like just charge through all the gear, and it'll be drive the next day and it'll charge up again pretty quick.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so at the back of the canopy, there's also a fair bit going on here. Outside of the drifted tent, which we've just run through, let's have a look. There's a fair bit going on. Walk us through it.
So, you know, it's a pretty standard combination these days along the back to have the jerry can, the ladder and the wheel. So the jerry can has changed a little bit from the first ones that Tyler had. They're still lockable. They fit that 20-litre jerry can quite well. Probably one of our favourite components that we do make is our ladder. It's adjustable. It's actually got a rake on it for a nice one-handed climb. And like we were talking about before, it's the little things that have been thought about. The fact that it's got grip tape on these steps, so you don't have to worry about in the middle of the night if it's wet slipping off.
Slipping off in weather like this, yeah.
So, and it's designed to stow back into the vehicle nice and neat. So it's basically around 10 mil larger than what the jerry can is off the back of the wall. So,
yep.
You know, we've even gone to the point now where all the tray tops get rapted, and we do that rather than putting the rubber down, because the rubber is a lot heavier.
Yep.
With it being raptor too, if you do, you know, put a load of gravel in the back and it scratches it up, you can touch it up at home simply by either getting yourself one of the aerosol cans or a kit yourself and tidy it up. Yep. Slightly different wheel carrier than Tyler's original one, so this is designed to take multiple different size wheels. The hub is adjustable in the middle, as well as with the wing nut on the back. You can put a lock on it.
So this will fit anything from a normal like 30-inch, 31-inch dual cab tyre all the way up to, like, Bree's got a 37 on the back of her car, so same component.
Yeah, you could go to a 40-inch tyre, except it would hang over the top of the canopy, so you know, may not be very aerodynamic.
Yeah, maybe not.
But yeah, so we got obviously the 355 series taillights, which are basically how our tray started. That was one of the lights that we wanted to use, and we started our angles and things like that from there. But
they fit really nice and neat in the component that you put it in.
Yeah, it's there's a bit of fabrication in those. There's 5 pieces that make that light surround. So nice. Everything is designed, like I said before, if you do damage to it, it can be removed and replaced.
Okay.
So we have old and file, you know, Tyler's is saved into a job card file where we know what components we use, so we can replace that and change it. The only thing that was ever replaced on Tyler's original setup was the guards, and that was how we've gone to these newer style, stronger ones.
Yep.
So we will replace anything that's damaged underneath the trays at cost price. So
oh wow, okay.
that's what we've designed it for. You know, Adam and myself, we've had trays in the past where we've done damage to them, and it's like, tray's gone now, got to build a new one.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was part of those things that we worked on. Jump around the side and have a look at the guard. So as you can see here, Tyler's actually bent this guard out of shape, but there is no cracks in the welds on this guard. It's just literally grabbed itself and fought itself to bend, and that's one of the key things that we've worked on to try and have that point of difference. So there is no fish plates in there, so it's not getting its strength from that. So
strong as nails.
It's strong as nails. You know, obviously if Tyler was to go and run a larger offset, he's still got that ability to move that guard in or out, which is really, really handy. And we do have a new signature piece that's just working its way into production now. We've had our own filler necks made and produced for us specifically, which is really, really cool and exciting. So to the level they come with G-Works keys. But yeah, so this is your kind of most sold setup, the 1600 tray top. So the way we work it is we work in 1600 is usable tray stop plus the headboard. So the overall length of this tray is 1715 with an 1850 width.
Okay.
And then he's running a 1400 Canopy, which is kind of perfect for that, weekend warrior, long trips, couple of people. And then you go up to like a 1600 Canopy, which would suit you probably family of 5.
Yeah, or living out of it kind of
Yeah, living out of it kind of thing. And it's all about how you use the space inside. So on this side, Tyler actually runs a roof shelf, which is perfect use of space inside the canopy, using that dead area that you would normally miss out on, which is really, really good. You can option them with drawers and things like that, such like the Mighty Ranger.
Mighty Ranger.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just solid effort between Tyler really putting them through their paces, and he's definitely been some places in the last 12 months. 30,000 Ks I think you've done, haven't you?
I did high country twice, Cape York, did a few places.
Yeah, Lithgow.
Yeah.
So
It's seen a lot of Australia, that's for sure. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Today it was great to get an awesome little look into your setup and your life and how you run with the Nav. And Nick, again, thanks for running us through the train canopy setup. This stuff is absolutely incredible. It blows my mind every time I hear how much attention to detail goes into these things. So yeah, appreciate you coming around. Let's continue the trip. We've got a bit of wheeling to do today, which should be pretty fun. And yeah, let's get to it.
cheers, thank you.
No worries, you're welcome.